Hey guys, let's talk about organizing our studio and being prepared. All right, so basically today what I wanted to talk about is, I don't know if you've noticed in some of my older videos where I didn't crop it out, but basically right behind me I have a bookshelf, and then on top of that bookshelf I actually have a red toolbox. And so I figured today I would talk about what's in that red toolbox. So basically my red toolbox is just a place where I keep a lot of odds and ends, things that are kind of useful that I kind of want to keep in my studio, but maybe that I don't use all the time. And I figured this is important to do because it's a way that I stay organized and prepared and ready for anything in my studio. So I figured today I would show you guys what's in the red toolbox, even though it's just odds and ends, things like adapters, stuff like that, just to show you that I have this and that this is one of the ways that I stay prepared and I stay ready for anything in my studio. And it's like, usually I'm not using the things that are in my red toolbox, but when I need them, they're there and they're all in one place so I can go find them easily. And they're kind of organized. Maybe not the most organized. I'm not going to clean it out or anything to prepare for this. So it might be a little messy looking, but I wanted you to see how it actually looks, how it actually looks in my studio. And I figure maybe some people haven't thought about this way of staying organized or being prepared. And so I just put it out there as a thing you can do for your studio, for your home studio, for your professional studio, whatever it is. It's a great way to be prepared and keep everything organized. And when you do need that little tiny random adapter that you're not sure if you may or may not have, to know exactly where to go to look for it. So in the interest of being more efficient and prepared in our studios, I'm going to show you guys what's in my red toolbox, and I might put some links in the description below for you guys as well. So my toolbox just lives right up here on my bookshelf. So here's my toolbox. Isn't it so pretty? Ooh, ah, so nice, so pretty, so sleek. Anyway, on top here, I have my DMM, so it's my digital multimeter, and that's just because I've been taking an electronics tech class so that I can work on sound gear, I can build sound gear, hopefully fix some sound gear. So I'm a little over halfway through that class. It's about a year-long course. It's basically like a condensed 2-year associates thing, and it lives on top of this box now. It doesn't have to be there, but I figured it'd be a good spot for it. All right, so let's get started here and open up this toolbox and get this DMM off the top here. And actually, you guys should see my other toolbox that's for my actual tools, like my drill and stuff, because it's really dinky compared to this toolbox. It's kind of funny how my priorities are maybe backwards compared to most people. I don't know. All right, and so in the top here, I have a lot of random little adapters and stuff like that. I have, you can see that I have barrels and splitters and some random stuff like this thing here, which I don't even remember what this was for, but I have it in case I remember. But yeah, adapters, different types of adapters, splitters. I have barrels here. I have a bunch of different types of barrels in here. These yellow things are actually for electrical work. And then I have some bins here where it's just a bunch of random little things, like little adapters and stuff. And some of these here in this bin, actually, they're like for cell phones or things that aren't really related to my studio work. But I have them in here just in case something pops up or I need it or I want it for a fun little project or something like that. But a lot of random adapters, to be honest. And then I have more adapters here. These, the 1/4 to 1/8 inch headphone adapters, these are super useful and handy in studios, and they tend to disappear and walk away. So I kind of like having a supply of these in my toolbox. They're really important to have around, and they do tend to walk away. So I do have a whole bunch of these in there. And I also have this oh so important beer bottle opener in here, so can't skip that. All right, and then I also have just a lot of random cables, random small cables that I picked up for various applications, and they kind of just ended up in here. Some of it's kind of useless, some of it I don't really use, but it's here. More splitters, more barrels, more adapters. You might sense a theme if you're paying attention here. Lots of adapters, splitters. I'm going to show you here in these next 2 bins. There's more splitters. I have 1/8 to 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch. I just have a whole range of different adapters and tiny little parts that you might need when you're doing an audio setup or working on a project. So that's the basic idea behind it. Nothing too surprising, right? Okay, and so that's the top part of my toolbox. So another kind of cool thing is that you can pull these bins out and you can just kind of grab them and take whatever's in there to go to work on your project or whatever it is. So I'll just grab it like this and go with it. So let's just shut this top part and then we can open it up so we can look in the bottom half of this toolbox here. Oh, and this is my broken teleprompter over here on the left. It's so sad. It's all taped up because the part that holds the camera just broke off and there's no like screw or anything where I can fix it. It just has to be glued or taped or something. I don't know. I just used duct tape on it so far because the gaff tape was farther away. So yeah, I don't know if it needs to be fixed or if I need to get a new one. So if the urge strikes you to send me a new one, I won't complain. So in the bottom section here, it's kind of the same deal. You can just grab these bins and take them to go. Okay, and this part's a little more relevant to audio engineering. So I have another splitter here. Gosh, I have so many splitters. It's kind of ridiculous, but I have another splitter here. It's way more than I need. I have cable ties here. Cable ties are really handy. So if you get new cables that don't have cable ties, they're great for that. They're great I use them a lot to bundle up different groups of cabling that I've already set up in my studio. It's just really handy to have these around. And then I also have a bunch of batteries here. I have more batteries to the right here that you can see. They're pretty old. I actually used to use these more when I was doing live sound and when I was in school and using things like battery-operated metronomes and stuff like that, which I don't use as much anymore. But I also have this power thing here, this power outlet, which probably doesn't even need to be in this box, to be honest, but it's here. And then I have a drum key here, too. And that's a great thing to have. That's really useful for a studio to have. And I have more drum keys lying around in other places in the house. It's not just here in this box. But let's see, I have more splitters here. I have so many flipping splitters. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I buy these things for a really specific project and then I use it and then maybe I change my setup or I don't do that project again. And then what happens is I have an extra splitter or an extra adapter, something that I'm not necessarily going to use all the time. And so then it ends up in here, all these little tiny cables, these little splitters, these little adapters. Here I have more splitters. That one's kind of funny looking. It's really exciting. And then I have here, this is like a stereo to 2 mono splitters. So you can see that's just a TS, not a TRS end. So that's just to 2 monos. And then I have more barrel adapters here. So this is just 2 mono barrels attached to make 1 stereo barrel adapter. And it's just female to female. And then here's my capo. So this is just like my cheaper travel capo, so to speak. It's not as nice as the one that I have on one of the guitars over here in my studio, but it's kind of just my backup capo and it's here if I need it. So that's pretty cool. And then I have my old batteries over here on the middle top section. These are so old. And then below this, I have these old cassette adapters, which I didn't even know that I still had these, but these aren't even for sound stuff. They're sound stuff, but what I used them for was actually back in high school when we would ride in cars that only had cassette players and we wanted to hook up our iPods to the car. We would use these for that. So now you probably know how old I am. Oh well. So I'll probably keep these actually just in case I want to use them for a fun project at some point. Maybe I can think of some kind of like Sylvia Massey-esque project to use them for. So I'm going to hang on to these actually. And in the next section, I actually have more fairly obsolete stuff that I probably don't need to be hanging on to, but I have just in case it comes up at some point. So these are tuners. That's a really dusty tuner right there. And then I have my metronome as well. And I haven't used these in a long time. I kind of just use the apps on my phone that you can get that work pretty well nowadays. So these are just kind of here as backups, here in case someone requests them, but I don't really use them much anymore. And then over here, I have some garbage that I'm going to get rid of. But also, I have some more adapters. What a surprise. So these are XLR to 1/4-inch adapters, various different types, mostly female to male. So female XLRs to male outputs. And some of these are low Z, some of these are high Z. So if the strange situation arises, then I'm ready. And then I have some random guitar picks, because you got to have those. And then I have more disorganized cabling here. So this is just an 1/8-inch extension cable. And I don't exactly remember what I used to use this for, but I think it was basically like an extension for my aux cable. So if someone wanted to play me some music off their phone in my little studio setup, it was there. And then I have ground lifts. So these are actually really handy. So I used to use these a lot when I was doing live sound. If you're doing any kind of setup in an area where maybe the power isn't, you don't have dedicated power, or it's not as good, or you're trying to do some kind of live sound setup or on location setup, these are really handy because sometimes you'll get like a buzzing or a little bit of a humming sound in your sound setup, and using a ground lift somewhere can help fix it. Sometimes it does help fix it. It's probably not the safest way to fix it, but sometimes it fixes it, and you do what you got to do. And I have this weird ground lift, which I don't remember how I got it, but it's just weird and it's there. I don't know. And then I have the hex wrench here, which doesn't need to be here. That should go in my toolbox. So I actually took it out to put in there. So that's it. That's my toolbox. There's some stuff in here that I never use. There's some stuff in here that I haven't used in years. But there's also some stuff in here that's very useful for when I do need it. So that's the gist of my fairly disorganized toolbox. So some stuff that's more on the useful side are ground lifts, right? Our different adapters are pretty useful, especially the 1/4 to 1/8 inch adapters that are in the top part of the toolbox. So the ones that are for headphones, those, like I said, they tend to walk away from studios, and they're used in almost every studio. So they're super helpful, super useful. The cable ties too are very, very, very helpful. Those are great for staying organized in the studio. And that's basically it. That's my toolbox. So yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you guys found some of this useful, so please let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm not sure if you guys are into this type of video where I go over like my organization or my process or things that keep me more efficient in my studio. So please let me know if you like this. Let me know what you think either way in the comments below. And for today's question, I want to know if you have something similar to my red toolbox in your studio. So if you do, please let me know what it looks like, how it's organized, what you have in there. I'd love to hear all about it in the comments below. So that's it. If you like this video and you want to help support my channel, please watch the other videos on my channel. That really helps right now with the YouTube algorithm. So that would be a huge help, just to watch other videos on my channel. And, all the usual stuff would really help. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That would be great. And if you want to help support my channel more directly, I do have a Patreon. So it's patreon.com/CatoNoise. And my patrons do get access to additional content on there. So please check that out. And I come out with new videos every Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Okay. I got the flu shot yesterday, and my arm, I had them do it in my right arm because I'm left-handed. It really hurts. I don't know. Apparently some people, it doesn't hurt them every time that they get the flu shot. It doesn't actually hurt their arm afterwards, but every single time my arm's like super sore afterwards. I don't know why. I feel like that's pretty normal though, right? I just realized yesterday when I was talking to someone else about it that not everyone gets a really sore arm afterwards. And I'm like, what gives? Why every time for me? It's like, hurts to pick things up and stuff too. It's pretty bad. So I don't know, but get your flu shot. It's supposed to be really bad this season. So I got some new acoustic treatment, and I posted on Instagram about it. If you want to see that, it's at Cato Noise, but I'm really excited. So today, as of the day I'm filming, right? Not the future when this releases, but today, 20,000 Hertz, the podcast, just came out with a really cool episode on the history of mastering. So if you haven't listened to that, you should go check it out. I liked it. And I'm not affiliated with them in any way. They don't know I exist. I don't think they know I exist. I just like their podcast. It's cool. Check out the episode. And I'm done. Yes, done.